I would assume. Although there is a possibility, I mean, there's always a possibility that you take a tight end and you can move him to defensive end. Um, Dalton Baker moved from tight end to outside linebacker. He could even move from outside linebacker to defensive end this year. We'll see, or the next couple of years. Um, we'll just have to see how that goes. Um, but as far from everything I've heard, I think he's gonna do well, and he's gonna be a one of those guys that's going to compete for playing time at the tight end position, depending on what happens with Dax Raymond coming back from his injury. Um, they've got the JC Matt Nelson. They've got him still here, I guess. I mean, he didn't play at all last year. I don't think did he redshirt? I can't remember exactly the Nelson's situation exactly, but I think he had a couple years to play, or he still has a couple years to play. Um, and then that's the majority of the returning experience, I guess, on the at the tight end position. But
Yeah, and I mean, I think with Dax, uh, I just chatted with him just a little bit, and he's excited to get back next year, and he said he'll be back 200%. So he's really excited to get back on the field, and
yeah,
um, obviously he redshirted this year, so he's going to be a redshirt freshman next year. And then you got, I'm just going to say Joe because I'm terrible with Polynesian names, but um, with those two guys, that's a pretty good young core of tight ends along with the other guys that we got. So I'm really excited about that. I was excited to get a JC offensive lineman commit out of Sammy Bernard. Uh, some I kind of liked his footwork, and I think his pass blocking's good. Um, the run blocking, I think he'll have to get a little bit quicker, but I think he's a lot further along than some of the JC guys, offensive linemen that we've gotten in the past, and he's coming out of a JC program that's a really good JC program there in Oklahoma,
right.
NEO. So hopefully he pans out, and those three guys. I mean, good grief, there's 7 visitors and 3 of them's committed so far. So yeah, that's pretty good. Almost 50% of the visitors, and
Yeah.
we got this weekend with some more visitors, and then the dead period starts, and that goes until January 13th, I do believe. So a whole month where coaches can call and text and write letters, but they can't meet with recruits face to face, and that'll only give them about 2.5 weeks until signing day, because signing day is on the 1st this year of February. So um, they'll get some guys in there, and we'll probably talk about them in just a minute. Um,
Yeah,
and then
they're trying to bring in a few guys during the December signing and January enrollees. So they should have a couple offensive linemen, Bernard being one of them, that for sure will come in January. Obviously, Tukuafu will enroll in January. They've got a couple return missionary guys that'll enroll in January. Um, they'll probably sign at least Bernard and one or two other, well, probably 2 offensive linemen total, and at least 1 or 2 defensive end guys. And one of the visitors last weekend was a defensive end, Carson Jordan, from JUCO in Mississippi, and obviously they'd love to get him to commit as well. Kind of just have somebody that can come in and figure things out and be ready to play hopefully next year and contribute, because defensive end and offensive line is really the 2 positions. Not only do the Aggies lose the most, but it's by far the biggest need and an area that needs to improve next year. So um, that is something to watch for, something to keep an eye on. We'll definitely you know let you know who commits, who's looking likely or not likely, who's a December grad and who's not a December grad, and so this it'll be interesting to see how many guys they get that are December grads and that can come in and be enrolled in January, and how many they'll wait on and so forth. Because call me crazy, but you know, and I guess that's why it's hard to recruit offensive linemen out of junior colleges, is because if you're recruiting a junior college, you want them to commit, you want them to come in and contribute right away, right? But to do that, not only do they have to be physically prepared, they have to be mentally able to come in and contribute. And so, it's even harder for an offensive lineman. We've seen defensive linemen, we've seen running backs, wide receivers come in late. They literally get their test scores the couple days before the first game or whatever. That kind of stuff happens obviously with JUCO guys all the time, and especially where Utah State's kind of holding on to hope to get that talented guy. And Devontae Robinson, for example, some of those guys in the past. So that's just that much harder for an offensive lineman to come in late, to have a chance to contribute. These December grad guys obviously have a little bit more experience and can come in and have a spring ball under their belt, fall camp, complete fall camp, and almost a year of weight training and all that kind of stuff. So that would be huge. If it was up to me, I would take the December guys. Even 2 or 3 of those guys, and then offer more high school guys. Unfortunately, in my opinion, they'll shoot for the best JUCO guys they can get, and that may be 4 JUCO guys, and may only be one more high school guy, which is, like I say, it wouldn't be my choice. It's not my choice. So that's something I guess, Seth, you can tell us your opinion, but that's kind of the way it's looking right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to have a healthy mix, but the situation that Utah State's in this year, I mean, or going into next year, it's like they neglected for 1 or 2 years the offensive line almost, and it's just they don't have any other choices but to go after the best JUCO guys they got, to hopefully they're further along than a high school kid. I see it, but like that, I'm really excited, and I'm really hopeful. Ernest Bagner, that kid, he's pretty exciting. If people haven't watched his huddle highlight, I think everybody would do yourself a favor. It's pretty enjoyable. 4 minutes, 5 minutes of highlights. He's so fast off the edge, and he's relentless. I mean, he's a DN, but he's about 240. I mean, he's pretty light that we're used to seeing out there, but I think he's fast enough that he could kind of play a Fackrell type position, for Utah State if they needed to, or they get him in there if he, in December and hit the weights, and he can put on another, 10, 15 pounds, 20 pounds, get up to 260 or whatever if they wanted him to. But that guy really excites me. So we'll see what transpires out of that. I know he's been kind of all over the place visiting Mountain West schools and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, with the offensive line, I think you nailed it on the head. I mean, I'd much rather get, the good high school guys and get them in the program and develop them and, go that route besides getting just a bunch of JC guys and crossing your fingers, I'm still hopeful that Taylor from last year will pan out this year. Hopefully he gets caught up or whatnot, because sometimes it's just too fast. I mean, it's too big a step for them, and they didn't realize how big of a step it was going to be. But I think they're going to have to get a couple other guys, obviously to even to help with depth, even if we got guys that are going to step up that are already on the roster. So.
Yeah, exactly. And whether, whether you have four, probably I would assume, or kind of what I have seen in my experiences, you'd like to have four guys in each class, and a few guys at each position, obviously, to have a two deep or solid, really a solid two deep, and some of the guys that they have, whether they're freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior, um, they just weren't weren't good enough. And so I've definitely 100% been of the opinion that the Aggies should have recruited the offensive line position better. They should have focused on it more. They should have offered more guys, and they should have offered better guys. They should have offered different guys, obviously. So I mean, I've been saying that for a couple of years now, and it's definitely caught up to him. So now, reaching on some JUCO guys, we'll see what happens. I think if they're obviously good JUCO guys, and they have the tools that they can be good offensive linemen, especially if they're coming in January, I think by all means it can work out well. All you have to do is look at some of the better offensive lines with San Diego State and Fresno State and New Mexico, and they've got JUCO guys. They've been able to win those JUCO battles over Utah State in some of those examples. Fresno State's obviously not a good offensive line, but I'm speaking about Kronk in particular, Christian Kronk, who, if you've listened to this podcast or you've ever read anything on UStateAggies.com, you probably know that Christian Kronk is a guy that I've been following for a long time, and now he's starting and doing well at Fresno State. Originally from Oceanside, the San Diego area. So it's possible. I mean, it's not something that's impossible to find those JUCO guys. It's something that you can definitely do. It's not out of the realm of possibilities. It's just sometimes you got to win some recruiting battles. Sometimes you got to get the right guy and the right kind of guy. There's even, for example, a guy that Utah State could have offered last year, for example, and he tore it up this year at a JUCO, for example, straight out of high school, and some of those, and he's from Utah, so in my opinion, Utah State should never miss on one of those Utah guys. He's 6'5", 300 pounds. Obviously, he got some good coaching on the JUCO level, and now he's starting to get offers even as a freshman. Next year, he'll even get more offers, and so those kind of things can be frustrating because they had their chance. Utah State was looking at him, knew about him, by all means could have offered him, and he's exactly, and it's the same thing this year. So this year I've gone to a lot of high school games. I've watched a lot of high school players, obviously. There's a couple guys that if Utah State doesn't offer, they're really going to miss out on a perfect fit for Utah State. That's 100% fact. So we'll see. I mean, obviously, the coaches have their reasons or whatever. I understand that, but that's just, I'm going to stand by 100% that opinion that the Utah State should be offering especially the offensive line first. And last year, when the Aggies didn't offer that guy, and obviously Utah, BYU, SU didn't even offer him, but and he went the JUCO route. That was considered to be a pretty horrible offensive line class, and so I kind of was fine with taking it easy, in state for that class. Obviously, Utah State has an in-state offensive lineman, the redshirt, and so forth. But it's something that shouldn't happen. So that's just my opinion about that, and that goes with any position. In-state recruiting in 2018 is going to be completely even I guess even better